So this week in class, we've been talking about privilege and how it affects not only whites, but people of different races as well. This week's activity was the Got Privilege activity, in which we had to go on a shopping trip and try to find items that were geared towards black Americans rather than white Americans. During my shopping trip, I was unable to find a lot of the items on the list, and some of the items were really, in particular, really difficult to find. During my trip, I found the blemish and the cover-up, a book, as well as a doll and hair products. But the other items were much more difficult to find, and some of them I couldn't find. I went to two different stores. I went to a CVS and a Target, and I still didn't find all of the items. I thought that during my trip to the Target, because it was a little bit bigger, I would have more luck, and the CVS was a little bit smaller, so I thought they might have some items, but not all of them. During my trip, the prices were similar, but the selection was something that was drastically different. I found that there was a lot less selection for the specific items that were geared towards black Americans rather than the items that were geared towards white Americans. In particular, something that stood out to me the most was the makeup. There was multiple aisles of makeup with all different shades, colors, everything that was geared towards white American women. These aisles, there was probably 4 or 5 aisles that were just cover-up or just concealers for white women. And in this section, there was a small selection of black cover-up for individuals that were either biracial or of a different race. But for the most part, it was really difficult to find. They actually, in the Target that I was looking at, there was actually only one shade left. I'm not sure if they were just totally out of it or if that was all that they offered, but there was one shade. It was labeled Mocha, and it was the only shade that was available for someone who was someone other than white. When looking at the hair products, that was another drastic thing that I noticed, that we really have a privilege in that there was probably 4 aisles of hair products just for white women or white men, and there was one section that was labeled ethnic, that was kind of hidden within the aisles, that had one row, and there was probably 4 shelves of different hair products that were for ethnic individuals. It was geared towards black women or black men with different texture, different style of hair. There was various products. I think there was like 2 or 3 different types and different companies that sold them, but for the most part there was still a much limited selection. As far as the stores, both stores that I entered, it seemed like both managers were white men. I think when discussing the difficulties that a black woman would have when working or when looking in a store like this to find something that would suit her, especially in the cosmetic aisle, to have someone of a similar race kind of help her, it was difficult to find. I think the Target offered more employees that were of different races, but for the most part, I believe in the CVS there was only white men and women working when I was there. I think it would be extremely difficult for a black woman to find someone of a similar gender as well as race to discuss the issues or that she encountered or ask for suggestions or help, because the selection was so limited that she didn't have a choice. There was one choice, and it was supposed to be kind of a one color fits all, which is not the case. And it shows how much there's like a double standard in that, there's not enough selection or choices for people of different races. Overall, I think this activity was really eye-opening for me. I think this whole week of discussing privilege has been eye-opening for all of us in class, just because it's not something that you realize every day, and it's not something that, you think that you're entitled to or think that you have until it's kind of thrust upon you. I think through all of the activities, this one in particular, really noticing the differences. And I think as we talked in class and you asked us to start noticing more things that are going on, I've been kind of keeping my eye open for the differences and the privilege that I do have being a white American. I think overall it's drastically different, and I think it's important that we're able to reflect on this and do activities like this so that we can learn and help our students in the future.